And for more on this, let's bring in Chris Klem, a retired Chief Patrol Agent for the U.S. Border Patrol. Chris, thank you so much for your time tonight. We're really glad to have you. I want to just start first with, we just told everybody a little bit about your background as you're watching what happened today. Can I get what your thoughts are, what your reaction is?
Yeah, good evening, Jessica. Certainly when you have a law enforcement shooting and it results in a death, it's tragic for everybody involved. There's a family mourning the loss of a loved one, and at the same time, there's a family relieved that their officers and agents are coming home. There are so many things that are leading up to this that will come over in the next several days as the investigation gets put together. But I will tell you, at the time of the shooting is what I'm kind of focusing on, is you have, really an active, resistant, assaultive, combative, the victim actually, with 5 or 6 agents trying to subdue him and control him. And that's when things got really crazy and ultimately led to the shooting. And that's the part that, is troubling, is we don't know what all the facts are right now. We've seen video, we've seen different angles, we've seen him resisting and fighting, but at the same time, we don't know what led up to it completely. And, it's just troubling. And I will say that, this is something that needs to get addressed. And I would just mention that I think if the governor and the mayor would really kind of tone it down and direct local police to help keep those protesters down and calm some stuff down, those calls, the White House would more likely be met to try to find that common ground. Because I agree with the earlier guest that we need to find some common ground and get some solutions.
I want to ask you, what is the training? As someone who is a member of Border Patrol, what is the training in this situation? When this person is struggling, but there's clearly 6 people with him, and you're exactly right. There are a lot of questions that still need to be answered. We do have this video. But in no frame of the video do we see him brandishing a weapon, holding a weapon pointing it at them. What is the training in that moment? And in fact, in part of that video, we see an agent taking away what appears to be a gun before those shots are fired. What is the training around a scenario like that?
Right. There's so many moving parts at that moment, right? And so that's difficult. But typically in that situation, when you have somebody that you're trying to take down, there's like a stacking technique, which I think is what they were trying to do, get on top of him to control him, because he was at that point being assaultive and combative. And so that's what I think they were trying to do, is hold him. He was not released his hands. So absolutely. Yeah. And you're going to do that if you're not given the hands, especially if you think there's a weapon involved, which they may or may not know at the time. But when you're striking to try to get control, those are the situations that you can do. Now, if he would have been taken into control and the kicks and the striking would have continued, then we would have had a problem. But he was not under control when one of those agents was doing the striking. He was trying to get control and maybe get his hands, break his hands free. And then all of a sudden, we hear the shots fired and there we go. But again, this is trained. We train like this, Border Patrol at the basic academy, and throughout our use of force training, we look at these type of scenarios throughout our career. And my 27 and a half years as an agent, we trained every quarter on these type of situations.
And do you train to be with American citizens in cities like this?
Well, we do have those type of training. We at the basic academy work on crowd control throughout my career, both as an agent and as a supervisor and as a chief. We always worked on these type of situations, especially with our special response teams, our crowd control teams, our mobile response teams. So yes, we do train that way. Unfortunately, the environment with all the protesters coming out against us has created where they've had to have more agents. I would like to see less agents out there doing it, but unfortunately, they've got to protect themselves because we have so much of this protest going on. But yes, we do engage with citizens. I've arrested many U.S. citizens in my career for criminal acts. It's part of the job. It's not just always at the border. Sometimes it's away from the border.
And is de-escalation part of that training?
We absolutely. Officer presence is usually the first part of control and de-escalation, by being there and giving voice commands. Then sometimes you have to get physical, and then it goes to a less lethal or possibly deadly force. But we have seen play out in all the videos that just officer presence ends up escalating and agitating the crowd. So that's why it seems like it goes so quickly from the agent showing up to doing something like, pepper spray, tear gas, and then going into some of these hands-on confrontations.
It's just, and I think you can appreciate this. I think a lot of people out there are really at a loss for how it escalated in less than or about 30 seconds from him helping this, this woman getting pushed down, him going after the woman, the officers, getting on him, him struggling and pushing back against them, what we see in the video, as you just noted, to 10 shots being fired.
Yeah, you know what? That's the perils of law enforcement, and I think any veteran law enforcement, whether it's a state, a municipality, or a federal agent, we know that these situations go from just walking up and saying hello to deadly force that quickly. There's so many cases of going to a 911 call, knocking on a door, and shots are fired. It happens so quickly. Unfortunately, this is really a tinderbox right now in Minneapolis, and these things are escalating, much quicker than I think anybody would like. There's no one in my network or my circle of friends and colleagues that ever want to get into these situations. But we know when we took that oath of office, these things have to happen sometimes, and they don't always end well.
Yeah, and just this last question, just that bit about the gun being moved out before the shots are fired. So we see the officer the agent with the gun moving away, and then the shots are fired. Is that appropriate?
That's the one piece that we don't know for fact. Clearly we see a gun coming out. Was that Alex's gun? I don't know that for sure, so I can't speak on that. But securing evidence and securing the scene is critical. But because of the chaos, I can see where that may have been part of the situation. However, normally, and again, there are no routine or normal shootings. You would want to try to keep things as they lie. But given the situation with all the people showing up and the whistles being blown, there was a lot of chaos. And so they may have done things a little bit differently. Obviously, it's going to play out in the investigation. I think when we find out whose weapon that is, was that the agents, was that the victims, then we'll be able to piece those stories together. But again, this is unfolding so quickly.
Right. And I think the question is, if that's him, then obviously there's no threat at that moment, and yet the gunshots come after that. And to your point, we're going to have to wait. Hopefully there will be a full investigation. Chris Klem, thank you. We do appreciate it.
Thank you, Jessica.